Alrighty, resuming this next segment. So the Storm Spirit who was being killed is now killed, and he goes down to the better part of the entire Scourge team to take him out. And you almost do need pretty much the entire team to take out a Storm Spirit, because you fail your chain stun for 1 second, and down he goes. So the Scourge is picking up a bigger lead and a bigger lead. They've caught the Storm Spirit out of position a few times, and they're up to 28 and 35, but their lead isn't insurmountable. Their conk is doing quite well, and their bottom's doing fairly well too, actually. She used a couple thousand gold in addition to her manta, so she's on her way to her next item. The Storm Spirit does not have his Hex yet, and the Slaughter and the Sven, they're both actually not that far. I mean, I guess that's a bad thing worth noting about heroes like the Slaughter and the Sven. They really need this Blink Dagger and this BKB before they can do much of anything. But, as I say this, the Sven, or the Slaughter, is zooming in to kill this Alchemist, who is terribly out of position for some reason. I'm not sure what he was doing over there, but he paid for his positioning with his life, and the Slaughter blinks in, and now he's raffle poning this Vengeful Spirit, and he BKBs, and down the Vengeful Spirit goes, and that is one big motherfucking snake. If he was on a plane, the plane just wouldn't be able to lift him and carry him. It would just fall due to his immense bulk. That's what I motherfucking say. In any event, oh my god, I said in any event. In any not event, or in any non-event, or in any eventful catch a phrase, in any eventful horizon, something or other, the Sentinel may be pushing this middle tier 2 tower. They don't have their Storm Spirit handy. He's sort of lurking around though. I'm not sure if they're going to go for this tower. Yes, just the Puck's here as well, and so is the Witch Doctor. And the Glyph has gone down. We do have heroes walking in to defend it. Potom misses her arrow, and Sven actually blinks in very boldly, the Sven blinking in alone. And now we have the Slaughter blinking in, however, he gets stunned before he can turn on his BKB, which might actually still be on cooldown, I believe. And he gets off a nice little stun, but he's been fingered by the Lion. And he is going down, and the Storm Spirit's turned on his BKB. They've taken out the Potom, and the Witch Doctor is being chased. He's been swapped, and surely in a moment the Witch Doctor is going to die. The Lion actually dies first, however, and the Witch Doctor looks to be getting away. The Potom has returned via buyback and fails to kill the Witch Doctor. Meanwhile, the Kunkka is getting a kill off on the Sven. He taunts the Puck. Fantastic taunt from the Puck. We're seeing a beyond godlike double killing Kunkka who still has his Aegis. And I'm not sure what his next item will be. Perhaps a Battle Fury. It's a bit late in the game. Usually see that as sort of an early farm-up item, but it's a fantastic item at any point. Or maybe he'll go for like a Heart of Trask or something crazy. But one thing worth noting is he'd have to sell his Urn or pop his Aegis. Oh my god, huge creep wave coming in bottom. We'll see who's farming that up. Potom farms that. That'll be a huge investment in the carrying abilities of their Potom once she gets this creep wave. So she's at 1400 gold now. Starfall, Manta, pew 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 pew. I'm just sort of waiting a second for her to finish off this thing. So she was at 1400 gold, and now she's at 2000 gold. So I think she's just managed to pull out, and she's getting this wave too, so that's massive. But you get the point. She got herself like 700 gold there. And what the hell, this Kunk has got a double damage rune, plus 365 damage. If he had a Lothar on top of that, plus a critical hit, he can almost single-handedly kill their entire team in a single stroke. See, look, 1k crits. He's like Mordred, but with more ridiculous splash damage. Or at least for the moment he is. Oh, and actually the Vengeful Spirit Commando are making him even more ridiculous. So I think Sentinel's been falling a bit behind, but not too far. As, I mean, it does seem like they're quite far behind, but keep in mind their Sven and their Slaughter had to spend a lot of gold just on their Blink Daggers and their BKBs. And Sven hasn't even finished his yet. And once they finish those and they can move on to some more useful DPS kind of items, they might start becoming much, much more effective. And Slaughter is trying to kill this Potom, and the Puck is here too. And that Potom falls down, very out of position. And down she goes. Her illusions are still around. The Witch Doctor's teleporting home to do a bit of shopping. The Slaughter's home to heal. Hi Slaughter, heal yourself up. Actually, Yellow, who is the Puck, might be ganked as there are 4 Scourge heroes coming in on him, but he's Puck, and ganking Puck is like ganking Storm Spirit. It's a tall order. I'm not sure which one's harder to kill. Probably the puck, because of that damn waning rift. And he is hiding in the trees, and he is being pinged, so they are onto him. But are they? It's like a little merry-go-round. Puck is leading them on a happy little chase. And he's popped his waning rift, and he's zoomed himself over to here. The Vengeful Spirit did howl here, and Puck blinked himself over here, and now he's teleporting. This Puck is... It's like a merry-go-round. He's leading them on a wild goose chase, and he's more than happy to. I mean, the more time their entire team spends chasing Puck while he lets his teammates farm, the happier Puck is. But he's not going to lead them around any longer. And just let me check Potom. Potom is at 1,700 gold, so she must have bought herself something. Oh, yes, she died. The Kunkka actually is 4,000 gold. I'm not quite sure what he's saving up for, but I'll have to keep an eye out on Kunkka and his items. And he's despite him having so many items, he's still continuing to farm. And there comes a point when farming's not quite as useful anymore, and Kunkka's soon reaching that point. He's ridiculous now, but as the game goes on, he's not going to grow in power as much as some of the Sentinel heroes, I don't think. And since they have such great initiation, I want to say that the Sentinel is behind, but if initiation is good for anything, it's making comebacks. Having a strong initiation is great for making a comeback, because even though your heroes are weaker, it lets you catch the enemy out of position very easily. And you can sort of basically fight battles on your terms. Like maybe, have 4 of your heroes pounce on 2 of their heroes and things like that. Or take their important heroes out before the fight even begins. But despite my saying that, they are definitely on the defensive and they are definitely somewhat behind. Potom fires off an arrow, but it does not hit anyone. The Alchemist has himself a BKB, so he's pretty tanky as well. The Kunkka has not purchased himself, anything at all. And the Witch Doctor doing just a bit of harassment. Not too much as harassment, but buying time by slowing down the push with his casks. The Sven blinks in to initiate it on the Puck. The Storm Spirit zips in. And he is BKB'd, and the Kunkka's actually fallen down, but he did have the Aegis, keep in mind. But they pick off a kill on the Lion. The Storm Spirit does have his Hex. I'm not sure if he's used it yet or not. The Witch Doctor was ulting, but now he's backing away from the Kunkka, who has returned to the action. And Alchemist was chasing down the Slardar for a little bit. The Puck is blinking in very aggressively, which might be a mistake on his part. We'll see how it works out for him. The Kunkka is still here, and he is running away, I guess? I think that's the end of that team fight, perhaps. We'll see if it goes on. This Witch Doctor is being very aggressive, but keep in mind that his allies behind him do have blink daggers, so... Oh, he gets off the Alchemist was so close to teleporting out. That was a fraction of a second. Less than like a 10th of a second. Less than maybe even a 20th of a second. But he's gone down, and so yeah, the Sentinel picked up a couple kills there, and they didn't kill the Kunkka, but they took off his Aegis charge. Actually, Roshan's back up. So Kunkka really didn't even need his Aegis. I guess that was a push to get rid of it, or try and get some use out of it, is a better turn of phrase. And now Sentinel looks like they're successful in that team fight, so they even pick off a Rosh kill. Starter's minus armor is, of course, really making this go faster. Sven's actually been arrowed by the Potom. The Potom tries to leap in, but she ends up landing over here. The Kunkka gets off a torrent and a boat. The boat picks off the Sven. The Storm Spirit zips up top to try and kill the Potom. The Kunkka's invisible, trying to go in on the Sven, or the Starter from behind, but the Starter blinks away from the Kunkka, so the Kunkka's a bit late to the party. They have picked off the Witch Doctor, and the Starter's running away low health. The Storm Spirit goes down, but he does have the Aegis. Puck, however, is not so lucky to have an Aegis. Storm Spirit zips himself away. And Potom at low health, but it looks like the battle is just about done. I don't see Storm Spirit zipping in for an amazing kill on Potom. He could, but he's not going to. Because he doesn't know. And I actually have to pause this to take a drink, because my throat is really sore. Alright, I'm back, and I refilled my bottle. Unfortunately, I didn't have a courier to refill my bottle for me. I tried to clip it to my cat's collar and get my cat to go back to the fountain to fill it for me. However, my cat just gave me funny looks. So I had to get up and do it myself. Ooh, actually, so Kunkka, if you remember, he was waiting his next item. His next item turns out to be an Assault Cuirass. And so yeah, that's a pretty deadly item. Minus armor ore is quite potent, and it really makes him a pretty big priority target, despite his ridiculously high health. And they really ought to take him out because he is the source of most of the damage, him and the Potom, and he also provides the aura. The Potom's actually probably a better first target. Well, no, I'm not sure. It's a close call. The Potom's definitely way easier to kill, in terms of she has lower health, but the Kunkit, I think, really does ridiculous damage at this point in a team fight. We'll see how the next team battle goes, as this match is still very up in the air. Actually, let me pause for a second. Look at the creep stats, because there's quite a bit of farming going on all around. The Storm Spirit's worked himself up to a couple hundred, which has been enough for him to get his BKB and his Sheepstick. The Lion, who he laned against initially, is only at 40, and he has himself a Blink Dagger, and it would be nice if he had a BKB, but he does not, and nor will he have a BKB anytime soon by the looks of things, once he settles down and does a bit of farming. The Puck got himself up to 100, and he went for a Ghost Scepter, which is a good item, don't get me wrong. However, he does not have a Sheepstick, and doesn't look like he'll be getting a Sheepstick anytime soon either. That's certainly probably his next item, but I don't think he'll ever finish it. The Potom has 3,300 gold, so perhaps a butterfly or an eagle horn to start with for her, and she has 150 creep stats. The Witch Doctor's 50 is enough to bring himself up to a Ghost Scepter, which is always a great item for a support hero to get, because his casks are a fairly short cooldown, and that Ghost Scepter could be the difference between living to get off a second cask in a team fight and falling and only getting off one cask, which is a huge difference. The Slardar has himself a hood, which is an interesting kind of item that makes him very robust against a lot of things coming at him, but it doesn't help him any against Kunkka's Tidebringer Slashes, which is not the majority of the Scourge's damage, but a very large part of it. And Sven does not have his BKB, but he's not very close. And he's still at 27 creep stats, so he's close. He's, what does he need? 800 gold away from a BKB, but he's not farming very much. The Alchemist has himself his BKB Vanguard, and not much gold, so he's not going to get anything else anytime soon. And yeah, that's about that. So some ward buying going on, and not just normal wards, they're also purchasing some counter wards, Starsboba. And let me just check the levels since the teams are still away from each other. So Kunkka's at level 25, and a level advantage is great, but it always sucks when you hit 25, because from this point on, everyone else is just catching up to him. His Potom is at 23, whereas the two best Scourge carries, I guess the Storm Spirit is at 22, the Slardar is at 20, the Puck's at 19, so the Scourge does have a level advantage, but it's getting to the point where everyone's going to be level 25, and they're going to lose that level advantage as this game drags on. And I've said it quite a few times now, but again, the initiation on this Sentinel team is very potent. If this Witch Doctor gets a Blink Dagger, well, it'll just be icing on the cake. But Scourge is moving up for a push on middle lane, and before that happens, I think I'll pause to break this into another segment.